In this part of this tutorial, you will see how to fill in the e-form, how to attach the required documents, and finally, how to submit the application form online. The tutorial focuses on how you can fill in and submit an application form. For the purposes of this tutorial, we are going to fill in an application form under the youth sector. The application forms under the other 4 sectors follow the same procedures. We are going to start by downloading an application form. These can be found on our website by selecting Erasmus+, Applications e-forms, and Applications for Key Action 1. Select the type of application form that you want to submit, you will see this notification. It is important to save this application in your desired location, such as folder, desktop. Once that it is saved, you can open it and start filling it in. The first thing that you should do is to check that you downloaded the correct application form. At the bottom of every page, on the left-hand side, you can see that the form has not been submitted yet. This will change to the form has been submitted once that the e-form is successfully submitted online. On the right-hand side of every page, there is a Validate button. You can click this at any point in time to see that you are filling in the application form correctly. If you missed a field, you will be automatically led to that field to fill in the missing information. It is important to note that the information in the grey boxes will be filled automatically. It is mandatory to insert information in the red boxes, while the white boxes are optional. In the first page of each application form, you have to indicate in which language you're filling in the e-form, and you have to identify your project by inserting the project title and its acronym. Kindly note that although you may be submitting an application form for a course, work placement, exchange, or job shadowing experience, this application form is your project. At application stage, you also have to identify when the project will start and its duration in the format indicated in brackets. This information should be in line with the Erasmus Plus program guide that can be downloaded from our website. The project end date will then pop up automatically. Since you'll be submitting the e-form to the Maltese National Agency, you have to select MT01 so that your project proposal can be assessed locally. From the third page onwards, you have to insert information pertaining to both the applicant and partner organizations. Insert the PIC, the 9-digit code of your organization, and click Check PIC so that information will be filled automatically. The information featured is that which you have uploaded on the participant portal when you applied for the code. Accreditation relates to 3 sectors only: higher education, youths, and the vocational sector. If you are an accredited organization, then you should fill in the requested information. Then you need to present your organization by providing details about it, its areas relevant to the application form, people involved in the application, any related previous experience, and whether the organization applied for EU funding in the past 12 months. Once that this information is compiled, you need to identify the legal representative of this organization. The same information should be filled in for the partner organizations. If you have more than one partner, you need to click the Add Partner button and repeat the same procedures. In the next section, you are asked to describe your project and select the most relevant topics from the drop-down menu. You can add or remove topics as you wish from the plus or minus buttons. This section now deals with the participants of the project, including if you have any participants with fewer opportunities, and if yes, what type of fewer opportunities. You are now requested to fill in information on the learning outcomes of the project and include which certificates will be used. For instance, youth projects should use the Youth Pass certificate, while other learning outcomes in other mobility projects can be documented and validated through the Europass mobility document. If you are planning to issue your own certificates, these can also be mentioned in the e-form. Information related to the preparation from the organizations and participants' end is also required. In the main activities section, you are requested to explain the objectives of each activity that you are planning to do and how, by means of these activities, you will reach the objectives of the project. The next step is to start filling in the project and respective activities, which will lead to the automatic filling in of the budget sheet. This section slightly varies from one sector to another, but the same procedures follow suit. In the distance band section, you have to indicate the distance between the country of origin and country of destination. This can easily be calculated by using the distance calculator that can also be found on our website in the page Erasmus Plus Guide for Applicants. To add an organization that will participate in the same activity, you have to click the plus button. If you would like to add a different and separate activity, you need to click on Add Activity. The summary of activities and participants will be filled in automatically as inputted by you in the previous section. The follow-up section is as equally important as the other sections of the application form, where mainly you have to highlight the impact and dissemination of your project, including how you will evaluate the outcomes. The major part of this section will be filled in automatically according to what you inserted in the previous sections. You will be requested to fill in information related to special needs support, exceptional costs, and a justification motivated in the application form to prove why you are requesting that amount of money. In case of application forms related to school education and adult education, you will also be requested to fill in details related to course fees. To finalize the application form, you need to provide a project summary. A summary of participating organizations and a budget summary will appear automatically. Each application form has a checklist in itself. You have to make sure that you abide to it. The declaration of honor that is mentioned is found in the following pages of the same application form. You'll just need to select the button Print Declaration of Honor. This document has to be filled in by the legal representative of the organization as is indicated in the participant portal. The filled-in and scanned Declaration of Honor, together with the mandate forms which need to be signed by your organization and your respective partners, and other requested documents, should be uploaded in the same application form in the following section. You just need to click on the button Add that can be found on the right-hand side. Once that all requested information is filled in and that the application form is validated, you can proceed by submitting the application form online. Once this is done successfully, you will see a box that will include the submission details. I will now guide you through the differences that one can find in a Key Action 2 application form. For the purposes of this application form, I am using one that relates to adult education. As you can see, the main difference is that in the first page, you have to select whether the project is going to focus on development of innovation or exchange of good practices. This option is only found in application forms pertaining to strategic partnerships for adult education, school education, vocational education and training, and partnerships for youth. In a Key Action 2 application form, you also have to indicate the most relevant horizontal or sectorial priorities and comment on your choices. These priorities are also listed in the Erasmus Plus program guide. The description of the project is more complex than a Key Action 1 application form. Mainly, you have to focus on the frequency and content of transnational project meetings, the meetings that are attended by project coordinators from each country to discuss its implementation. In the Participants section, you have to indicate the estimate number of people that will benefit indirectly from the project, and in which activities and how they will be involved. Other sections relate to project management, including its evaluation and any predicted risks, as well as the project's implementation process. The section Intellectual Outputs will only appear in applications that are planned to develop innovation. Intellectual outputs are the tangible deliverables of the project. Also identify the languages in which the output will be delivered in, the type of media that you'll use, and it's important to identify both the organization leading the tool and those that are supporting it. If you are planning to submit an application to exchange good practices, then you will not see this section or the one following it. You will then be required to specify what type of activities will be organized and to what outputs they will be related to. If your project foresees mobility related to teaching, training, or learning, then you will be required to answer yes in the section Learning, Teaching, Training Activities. It is not compulsory to select yes, as every project has its own needs. If your answer is positive, then you have to justify why such activities will be carried out. Fill in the required fields and explain how the learning outcomes will be documented and validated. If you require any assistance, EUPA also manages the Europass and DEGFET networks. The sections Impact and Dissemination require particular attention, since they are as equally important as the previous sections. For those of you producing intellectual outputs, you have to ensure free access to the public and how the results will be available and used by others, not just once that these are developed, but also beyond, since sustainability is also an important factor. The budget section works similar to Key Action 1, and it should reflect what you've written so far in the application and what will be indicated in the timeline of activities, as you will need to input information in the sections that beneath them have a plus and minus button to include the necessary information. Exceptional costs for overseas countries and territories' travel costs are not applicable for Maltese participants. The other sections should be filled in as suggested in Key Action 1 application form. Key Action 3 application forms are similar to Key Action 1. Erasmus Plus deadlines are all at 12 p.m. midday. If you submit an application form after that time, it will be marked as late application and will not be accepted by the agency. If for some reason or another you encounter technical difficulties and will not be able to submit the application form by noon, you have to inform EUPA by email about it well before the deadline. EUPA will not accept any hard copies. For further information, you can contact us by phone or email.